how are you?
You got 50-50.
So what do you do?
See, that's the problem with black women. All y'all care about is money. A bunch of gold diggers.
Okay. Let's talk about something else. Do you have children?
I have 4 kids and I don't want no more. My 3 baby mamas ain't and always asking me for money. I can't understand why they always coming to me with their handout. That's why I pay child support for.
Oh my gosh. And with 4 kids, you must be paying a lot.
$50 damn a month. A nigga drive a forklift for 12 hours a day but can't even afford to roll up no more after they take the money out of my check. I can't even cop the new J's. I hate gold diggers.
You hate gold diggers, but you have no gold. Got it.
Welcome to Suite Nubia Chats, where the dynamic perspectives of Black women worldwide take center stage. Here we dive deep into everything from the latest trends and cultural moments to the pressing conversations shaping our world. Whether it's bold opinions, insightful stories, or inspiring journeys, Suite Nubia Chats is here to amplify the voices that deserve to be heard. Join our vibrant community and be a part of the conversations that are redefining narratives and highlighting the experiences of Black women. Hit that subscribe button and let's make some noise together. Our content is created under the principles of fair use. Suite Nubia Chats videos include commentary, criticism, and educational content that is protected under fair use guidelines. We may use copyrighted material for the purpose of discussion and analysis, always with the intention of adding original value and context. All intellectual property rights remain with their respective owners. In today's video, we're diving into the unique and often complex challenges Black women are facing as they try to navigate the rough waters of the dating world. I've gathered a few clips of women sharing their personal stories and obstacles they've encountered as they ventured out to find their perfect match. We all know by now that it ain't easy out here, but nothing beats a fail but a try. Take a look at the experiences of these ladies and then share your own thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
You think you've had a hard time dating? I once went on a date with a guy, ABC Cosina, and he showed up with an overnight bag. And I just knew it was an overnight bag. I knew it wasn't a gym bag. At the end of the date, he's like, oh, I'll call us a car. I said, okay, cool. He hands me his phone. He said, put in your address. I said, well, why don't you put in your address and then I'll put in mine? And he was like, no, we're going back to yours. And I said, no, we're not. It's not a homeless shelter. I'm not taking in strays. We're not doing that. It's not happening. You're going home and I'm going home. So if you want to call me a car home, that's great. And once I told him that, he said he wasn't going to call me a car. And I said, that's fine. I'll call my own car. Peace out, Girl Scout. To the man that brought his overnight bag to my date. Are you dumb or stupid? You think you've had a hard time dating?
Yeah, for sure. One time I went on a date with a guy and I was eating the food. It was so good. And in the middle of me eating, he calls the waitress over and asks for my food to be bagged up. I was a little bit confused by this, but it was Wednesday. And so I thought, oh, maybe he has to go and it's like running kind of late. I don't know. But I didn't care. I was like, whatever, I'll finish the food when I get home. He bags the food up. He's holding the food. Okay, I'm thinking he's gonna hold it, walk me to my car, and give me the food. Because why else would I have come from the bathroom and you're holding the bag? Like, obviously, we're getting ready to go. You're gonna hold the bag, you're gonna walk me, you're gonna give me my food. Y'all, he took the food. He took the food home for him and his roommate to eat for lunch the next day. You may be thinking, did you do something? Did the date go bad? No, he asked me out on another date, literally the next day. Also, after, like before we got to the car, he also asked me if I wanted to go get boba, and then I said yes, and that I wanted a taro boba, and I went to go sit down, and then he got one boba. It was not a taro boba, and then drank the whole thing in front of me. So, yeah, I do think dating's not going that well for me. Thanks for asking.
One time I went on a date with a guy while I was interning, and he says, let's meet for lunch. And I said, okay, great. So I get out of my job and I go meet him for lunch at a restaurant. When we get to the lunch at the restaurant, we sit down at the table. The waiter gives us menus. He orders a water, and then I start looking at the menu. After looking over the menus, I look up at him and I say, oh, I'm thinking about the Caesar salad. What are you thinking about eating? He looks me dead in my eyes and says, you're actually going to eat? Mind you, we met for a lunch date, at lunch, at a restaurant, at lunch, on a date, at lunch, eating lunch at a restaurant during lunchtime. But yeah, not to be like intimidated or anything, I say, yeah, I'm gonna order the salad. So he sits there and watches me eat the salad and does not order a single thing. But it gets worse. So this guy was a little bit older than me and was a defense attorney. He spent the whole date grilling me on foreign policy, like actual foreign policy. This is years ago when I was like 21, but I had no idea. And he started yelling at me. Oh, you girls don't know anything. You're so vapid. You're so self-centered, yada, yada, yada. The entire day while I'm eating my salad. But yes, he did ask me out for a second date, and he said yes, he had an amazing time and he thought I was so great. Yeah, girls, it's hell.
Riddle me this. If all you do is tell me, I like you, 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 and then at one point I say, you know what? I think I like you too. And then you dub my shit. What was I supposed to do with that information? Because now at this point I'm confused and I want to fight.
Sis, we're just getting started. But before we check out more videos, I can't forget to share with you my Suite Nubia online store. Visit www.etsy.com/shop/Suite Nubia. It's where we celebrate the beauty, style, and the dynamic nature of Black women through an exquisite collection of art prints you can hang on your home or office walls. Suite Nubia is more than just art prints. They are a statement of pride, culture, individuality, and visually stunning pieces that capture the essence of Black femininity. And of course, I have a special discount for you if you choose to grab a few prints to beautify your space or gift to someone you love. Purchase 3 or more art prints and you'll receive 15% off your entire purchase. The discount will automatically be applied at checkout. Plus, you'll receive free shipping. Now make sure you get yours today. Back to the videos.
So one day I'm on Instagram and I am scrolling through reels and I come across this really funny reel from this guy that lives in Houston, where I also live. And he's basically talking about different things that we experience here in Houston, and I thought it was funny. So I liked it, and I want to say I left a comment, and about 30 to 40 minutes later, this guy hops in my DMs, and he's like, oh my goodness, you're so beautiful, and he's like, I see that you're here in Houston. I don't know if you have a man, but if you don't have a man, I would love to take you out. Just giving me a lot of compliments, and I reviewed his page and I saw what he did and stuff like that, and I thought he was a fairly, averagely attractive man. And I said, okay. We started having conversation through the DM, and I told him I was single, and a little bit about me, and he told me a little bit about him. We exchanged numbers and we proceeded to text. He called me, we had a few conversations, and he was like, I have to meet you. He was like, when, what is your availability like? Luckily, like in the next few days, I work from home. So in the next few days, I was like, I can meet you for lunch. So we ended up doing that. Lunch went really good. We had a great first date. Was really happy about the connection. After that, we kind of talked on the phone for hours and hours, for many days. Like we had a really good connection as far as like having good conversation, and like, he was very funny, and I love to laugh. I'm very silly, and so we like really hit it off the bat. But he was like one of those people that was like never a dull moment. Like he was always cracking jokes. Like he could never be like. I guess he was serious too. He had like a serious side to him too. But for the most part, like he was always laughing. He was always joking. Like really great vibe, really great energy. And so I was excited to see him again. So we planned to see each other again, I think like in the next week. And so that day came around, and he had planned for us to go out to dinner. So we went out to dinner, and then after that we went to a local bar and we had a couple drinks. Again, connection is great. We're vibing well. We're cracking jokes. We are having a great second date, and I'm really excited about this guy because, like I said, we've been having so much good conversation, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this person, he's a great person, and we were just really hitting it off. So after that, we go to his photo studio. He is a photographer. He wanted to show me the studio because it's in an art gallery, and I was excited about seeing the art. So we went there, whatever. We get there, we're talking, we're sitting on this little couch that he has at the studio, and he's like telling me about a situation that he had with a client, and how they were, I guess maybe they were rude to him or something like that, and he was telling me about the response that he gave him. But mind you, up until this point, we've been joking about everything, we've been laughing, and so what he said to the client, in my response, I was like, oh my god, that was sassy. I was like, oh, you had attitude. And this man sits up in his seat, and he's like, and he literally sat there like staring at me for a little while, and like to the point to where it was very awkward and uncomfortable. And so I saw how serious he was, and I was like, are you mad? And he was like, I think you should choose your words more wisely. And I was like, I don't really like the energy. I was like, do you want me to go? And y'all, he said, I think that would be best. And just a little extra info about this. At this point, like I said, we've eaten, we've went to a bar, we are now back at the photo gallery, and at this point, it's every bit of 1 o'clock in the morning. As far as I knew, the date was going well, but when I made that comment that I thought that what he said was sassy and that he had an attitude, the entire shift of the interaction there was no coming back from that comment. He was very, very serious. He was very, very upset. And so he was like, I think that will be best. And I got my ass up so freaking fast. I was like, okay. And I was like, well, do you want me to walk myself or can you walk me out of the building? And he was like, that's fine. And so he walks me out of the building, walks me to my car, make sure I get in my car safely. And so I start driving home and I'm like, oh my God, like, what the fuck just happened? And then he calls me while I'm driving home, probably like 10 minutes after I leave. And he's like, hey, you know, I don't really like the way that we ended the night. I wanted to talk to you about the comment that you made. And at this point, I'm not really saying anything. And he's like, I don't like when women use that word sassy. It's very disrespectful. And he kind of gave me a few other reasons about why he doesn't like that word, you know, why he felt that way. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm just listening. And at the end of him, you know, giving his speech that he was giving me, I said, okay, I said, I understand. I said, you know, I was not intending to be disrespectful. At no point was I trying to be disrespectful towards you. I understand how you may have perceived it that way. I felt like in the moment we were joking, we've been having a few drinks, things had been going really well. And I did not know that was a trigger for you. And I said, I wish you would have told me that, you know, certain things or certain words would be so triggering to you. I said, that's something that I think, that's a word that I think that I use daily. And I said, okay. And I said, I understand, you know, clearly that's a boundary for you. I said, you are entitled to have whatever boundaries, you know, that you have for yourself. I said, I just wish that you would have communicated that to me, prior, you know, this interaction. I said, but that's fine. That's okay. That's cool. Like, we're good. I won't ever say that to you ever again. If you don't like it, you don't like that. So that's fine. I understand where you're coming from. But again, like, I was not meaning to be disrespectful towards you. And he said, okay. And we got off the phone. So I drive home, and about 5 minutes into me pulling into my driveway, he sends me a voice note. He sends me a voice note that says, I really hate how we ended our night. We were having such a great time. I'm really upset about it because I really liked you. He was like, I really liked you. And I feel like you really soured my night. That comment that you made really soured my entire night. You know, I was intending to have a really great night. And he just kept saying that I soured his night. And like I said, and now at this point, now that I'm home, it's probably like 2 a.m. I decided to not respond to the voice note. I was like, no, I'm just not going to respond. Me and him can talk about this tomorrow. Because in my mind, we already had this conversation. You just called me. And we just had this conversation. And I said, okay, you got your boundaries. Cool, sir. Like, okay, I already said that I'm not going to say it anymore. What the hell is your problem? Now I'm getting pissed off. Because I'm like, what the fuck? So in the morning, I wake up and I call my best friend and I tell her about how the date went and I tell her about that weird ass shit that happened with the fucking sassy comments. And she's like, what the hell? Like, that's weird. And she's like, why is he so triggered by being called sassy? Or you not even really calling him sassy, even just saying that what he said was sassy and that he had attitude. She's like, why the hell is he so pressed on that? Like, it has to be something deeper. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just gonna give it some time. I said, you know, we had been drinking last night. Maybe that, you know, contributed to it. But I'm just gonna chill. Like, he sent that voice note last night. I'm not gonna respond to it. If he wants to talk about it today, that's fine. Like, if he calls or something. So a couple hours go by and he sends me another voice note. So in the voice note, he's like, well, you didn't respond to my voice note last night. So I'm just going to take it that you don't want to continue talking anymore. You know, you never apologized for the comment that you made last night. And, you know, I hope that you find everything that you're looking for and some other shit about being blessed and being fucking delivered or whatever the fuck he was talking about. So now I'm pissed off. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I should have just left it where it was. I know. But, what the fuck? Like, are people really that? It's just one fucking comment. I didn't call you a bitch. Like, I was not even making that comment directly towards him. It was literally about what he was saying. And I just feel like he just took it way too freaking far. So, of course, me being me, and now at this point, I'm irritated. So I respond, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is your problem? Like, you really didn't even give me enough time to even respond. Like, yeah, you know, you sent that voice note last night, but like I said, we had been drinking and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm kind of like still processing the whole situation and how I feel about it. And I was like, dude, you basically put me out of your photo studio. Like, what? I have feelings too. How do you know? You don't even ask me how I felt. Like, there was 2 people in this situation here. Okay, like, stop playing fucking victim. Like, I don't even remember what else I said, but I went in on his ass in that message. And if he's watching this right now, I still don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck.
I met this guy a couple of months ago. We met organically. He saw me walking through the airport during a layover. We ended up on the same flight. When we land in Miami, he asked me for my number. Cool. Very kind about it. Very much a gentleman. During my trip to Miami, he calls a couple of times. And we had like very casual conversations, but I do notice that he's throwing out those trigger words, high value man, traditional woman, blah, blah, blah. But I just figure like, you know, it's stuff that you're picking up off the internet, watching Kevin Samuels, and there's only so much you can pick up because Kevin Samuels is now dead. So, you know, whatever. Anyways, I get back from my vacation and 2 weeks later, he asked me to come to the state that he lives in to go on a date. And so I'm like, okay, fine. He buys my flight and I buy a hotel because I don't want to stay at his house. I don't know him like that. And we go on the date. I quickly realized that we're not compatible. We have very different ideology. I let him know. I think, you know, this is probably just going to be it, whatever. I get back home and he's still calling. So he seems to be taking notes on what I'm saying. So I'm like, all right, let me just give it a chance. Let me not just be too critical about it. It's early stages, whatever. Cool. So one day he calls me and he says that he just got out of a conversation with his friends. And that first, that he believes that if you are in a relationship, so if he's in a relationship with a woman, that he would require for her to have her location on at all times. And I said, okay. And he says that these two people that he was having a conversation with, the girlfriend did not have the location on for the boyfriend, but she had a location on for her mom and her sister. And the boyfriend was upset. And so they turned to him and asked him his opinion. This is what he said. And his response to them both was, quote, that this bitch is cheating on you. And so I asked him if he thought that was a proper response. And he told me yes. And so I said, okay. And then, I mean, he could tell that I just didn't agree, but I didn't say anything because there's no point anymore. We're not compatible, and I already told you this. So he then continues to tell me a story. He says that this same young lady who had her location on for her mom was driving someplace out in Georgia where they live, and something happened to her car, and she's stranded on the side of the road. So she calls her boyfriend, and his response to her was that she needed to call her mom and her sister, who lived out of state, that she did have her location on, and not the man that's her boyfriend that she's probably kissing in the mouth. And so I asked him again, did you think that this was a proper response? And he told me yes. So we go back and forth about this for a little minute because I can't really wrap my head around why you would think that any of this would be okay. And I let him know, like, you know, one issue is that you're referring to this woman as a bitch in front of her face. And, like, you know, every time you refer to her in a conversation, you refer to her as that bitch, which is insane. But also why you thought the proper response was to leave this woman on the side of the road. If you care about her, that's weird. And so we go back and forth about this. And then when I think that we've gotten to a point of reason, and I'm like, you know, I'm trying to explain my point of view or like why this isn't proper for a man to be doing, he gets quiet and says, do you know what you are? You're a bitch that doesn't know how to see through the bullshit. Why are you so hung up on me calling this woman a bitch? It doesn't make a difference. And then he says that he made up this entire story to prove a point. What that point was, I have no idea. But yeah. I also wanted to add that this man was 36 years old, never been married, doesn't have any kids, a six-figure earner. He has a hauling company out in Georgia, and he has alarms on his phone 3 times a day to remember to pray to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Story time on the worst date ever. I deleted my Hinge account after this. I highly don't recommend. So I met this guy on Hinge, and at first he was pretty cool. We messaged for a few days. And so finally he was like, you know, let's go on a date. Let's go bowling. So I was like, okay, cool. We can go bowling. I'll just meet you there. So he was like, all right. This is when I knew, this is when shit turned left extremely quick. And I should have known this was a red flag. This man literally went on my Instagram from like years ago and took an old picture of me in some dang on heels and a hat and was like, hey, can you wear this to the bowling alley? So he's like, you know, I think this picture is fly. You know, you got on heels, you got on the hat, and I want you to be fly. Like, I think you should wear that. And I'm like, I don't even know where this outfit is. This is years ago. I haven't worn this outfit in forever. And we're going bowling. I want to be chill. I want to wear some sneakers and some jeans or something. Steadily pressing me about this outfit. We going back and forth. And I'm just like, boy, I'm wearing what I want. So anyways, you know, I end up meeting him at the bowling alley. And I see him. I walk up to him, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how are you? I'm Ariel. And the first thing he does is he says, you're really short. Straight like that, he looked me up and down. No, hey, no, how you doing? Nice to meet you. He said, you're really short. And then he walked away and he was like, I'm gonna go get some shoes. Instantly, I'm turned off because I have never in my life had a man tell me that I was short and complain about it. Usually men like it, but instantly I'm like, oh, I'm so turned off. And I know how this is gonna be. So we go get the shoes and we find our lane. And dude has an attitude off jump. He's like, you could have came in here looking fly. Like, I like my girls to look fly. And that's not fly what you got on. So I'm just looking at the dude. I'm not saying nothing. The dude from New York, so he was already pretty, like, aggressive. And so he, like, asking me questions like, where you from? Where you grew up at? Real aggressive. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with this man? Like, kind of acting crazy. And so then he goes on back on a tangent about how short I am. He's like, you real short. Like, you just real short. So finally I'm like, okay, so what? Like, men love that I'm short. And he's like, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, actually. And like, I'm throwing the ball or whatever. And he's like, you're not really good at this. Like, you suck. You're not good at bowling at all. And he like snatches the ball from me. So at this point, I'm like low-key scared. So I end the day early. I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go home. Like, I got a long day tomorrow. I got to get up because it was in the middle of the week. And so I get home, and before I get a chance to block him, because that was my intentions, he calls me, and he's like blowing up my phone, and he's asking me to come over. And I'm like, oh yeah, this dude is mentally insane. I blocked him, and I deleted my Hinge, and I never got back on Hinge after that. It scarred me for life. But also, I was like nervous to go on dates because I was thinking that men was gonna think I was too short. So I didn't go on dates for months after that. Now I'm in a happy relationship, so it doesn't even matter anymore. So yeah, just be careful on Hinge.
I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. Imagine, first date with a man. You hit it off. Great energy. Date runs long. And you have a graduation party to get to. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, you want to come with me to my homegirl's graduation party? He's like, okay, yeah, sure. But I don't want to show up empty-handed, so we stop at the Target. Another green flag, because we've been hitting it off. Okay, great. We stop at Target. He gets her a card. We go to the graduation party. I introduce him to my friend. Cool. We go to my car. We're getting into my car. He's saying like, oh yeah, can you drop me off at the mall? Da-da-da-da, like whatever. Fine, because he allegedly Ubered an hour to get to me. Because he lives far out, not in the city. This man gets in my car. All of a sudden, a woman comes up out of the blue. I don't know where this woman was. She comes up and she yanks open my passenger side door. She's like, what the F are you doing? Get up. Come with me right now. Come with me right now. Get up. Get up. You're coming with me. At first, I thought she was joking. And at first, I thought it was like she saw him from afar, thought he was fine. Came into the car, was like, you're coming with me. You're coming with me. Because he was just like, chill, chill, chill. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. Like, he's fine. Okay, period, sis. But, like, not too much. But then she gets rowdy. She's like, get out the car. Get out the car. And yanks this full-grown size man and yanks him out the car. So I'm like, oh, y'all know each other. Takes him out the car. Bella, my car, is here. Her car is here. I'm T-boned in. I cannot move. There's a car in front of me. So all I can do is sit and look in my rear view at her beating. Just beating his ass. Just beating his ass. And I'm like, I turn my music down so I can hear what's being said. I can't hear nothing, but just going. And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't have the word, like, I didn't have the words that happened so fast, and I cannot move. So I'm sitting here, waiting for her to finish his beating. Finally, they start to back up. They pull up beside me. I'm looking like this. And he goes, and they drive off. And I just didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Because clearly that's your girl. We talked about cheating. We talked about red flags. We talked about green flags. He had passed a lot of, like, he had a good head on his shoulders, I thought. We talked about cheating in 30 minutes. We talked about emotional versus physical cheating. And she picked him up and yanked him out of the passenger side. And they drove off, and then he texted me, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm coping. I'm done with men. Especially light skins. I can't.
It's definitely a new day. I don't know if it's something in the air or in the water, but it seems like a lot of men have lost their way. Dating doesn't have to be complicated. There's no need for it to be a spectacle. Unfortunately, it seems that's what it's become. But ladies, you don't have to put up with the shenanigans. Yes, you can cut the date short. Yes, you can tell him thanks, but no thanks, and not give him a minute more of your time or energy. As we get ready to head into 2025, let's free ourselves from the shackles of going back and forth with men who just want to play games. Life is too short to waste time running around with men who aren't serious. Put in minimal effort and only enjoy being disrespectful. Use your time wisely and don't ignore those early red flags. And trust your gut when you feel he's playing in your face. Thank you so much for watching Suite Nubia Chats. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell to be alerted when my next video drops. See you later.